just want to say good evening, everybody, and welcome to North American Grand Prix GT1. This is Curtis Chandler, and tonight Mr. Jack Ivy is off in Las Vegas. He won't be with us tonight, but we have somebody you should all recognize from the Monday nights. Mr. Brad Maris is kind of off-site. He'll be watching via the live stream feed, but he's out on location. But he will be joining us tonight. Voice, hello, Brad.
Hi there, Curtis. It's good to join you here. It won't be in the server. Can't see a lot of the action in there. I'm a nervous wreck. Seeing what's going to happen with this my substitute out there tonight and my teammate, but looking forward to it. It's going to be fun, and I'll help fill in any broadcast tidbits I can for you, Curtis.
Appreciate the help. Thank you for showing up at the last moments. No notice, but you're more than welcome to just pop in and say anything, do anything you want. Well, we're in Okayama International Circuit tonight in Japan. It used to be called the TI Circuit Aida. I don't know if I pronounced that right, being from Arizona. But it is a 13-turn, 2.3-mile circuit. Lots of bank corners. Running about 1:23 lap times. And we're just now getting started in qualifying. Looks like Andres Prieto may be one of the first ones out to get some time lapse. We overcast. It's not wet yet on the track, but could be interesting. I would expect. Well, you can expect maybe some rain tonight. Being in Japan, it's known for that. Haven't got any times. Well, in the practice times, I was seeing 123s, 24s. But qualifying, you might be able to drop another second off that, second and a half. So we might see some high 21s, maybe some 22s in there. The typical fast guys.
Yeah, I would expect, Curtis, to see some 21s here in qualifying, assuming, like you say, it doesn't get too wet. I know some of these guys can get into the high 22s, so I should think 21s would be pretty possible. But it's a shorter track, and so the times relative to race pace for qualifying won't come down quite as much as they might for longer tracks.
I was able to get some practice laps in here a couple nights ago, and even though I was brutally slow running the 124s, 27s or something like that, I didn't even want to remember, but I really enjoyed this track. This track is a lot of fun to me. You get these straights at the bank corners, and you got to pay attention to your braking markers, otherwise you're going straight off into that little jump into the sand pits. But it's a real visual track. I like the way it looks, the way it feels, the flows, everything about this track I like.
Yeah, it actually is a good track, and it's not too difficult to be consistent at this track. The grip is a little down, I would say, from the majority of tracks that we go to. You mentioned the sand a little bit, though, and any half wheel off of these lines can really grab those tires and spit you off track pretty easily. The only problem with that being that it's pretty important to set up wide on some of these corners. We watch Andres cruise around there a little bit. You'll see him taking advantage of a lot of the track. He'll have to be careful with that over the course of the race.
Yeah, I noticed that too. My reconnaissance laps, I'll call them. You get up out on that curve, and it just kind of, if you kick over, and even if you just touch the grass just a little bit, it just seems to suck you right in. But yeah, you can get a real good flow on this track. You can get a real good rhythm going on it. To me, that's what made it really enjoyable. So like I say, we're just getting started. We got a 25-minute qualifying here. Andres Prieto, he was the first one out, and he's the first one to lay down the gauntlet here with the 121.5. Richard Roman, also with a 121.6, and Nick Johnson, he's always been real fast. He's got a win over in GT2 on Monday nights, laying down a real competitive time here early in qualifying.
Yeah, I know Nick is in a substitute role here tonight. I don't know if he's carrying any weight after having not participated in the GT1 class, but helping out Andres Prieto tonight. And both those Fords actually looking relatively quick, I've noticed, in their practice time. So looks like they might have a good shot tonight to finish up in the order.
Well, we know the Fords have been quick all season. They've always been either up front or together in the top 10. So real quick look here, you mentioned penalty weight, they like to call it here. Doesn't look like Nick has any weight on the car. David Pohl's got 66 pounds. Sportelli, Moses, and Marty Urinall with 88. Mike Greatrix, who was he's going to be in the Ferrari F40. He was having some fun Tuesday night racing around. He said he was going to show up, broken toe and all. So he was there with some penalty weight. He was running some good times too. So fun to watch my Monday night teammate go out there and give it a shot in the GT1 ranks tonight.
Yeah, you bet it is. And as usual, nice full field. NAGP doesn't ordinarily disappoint on our fields. I know the Saturday Champ Car guys are getting ready to get revved up here, so to speak. I suspect they'll have some good crowds for that as well on Saturday.
Yeah, I wish I could do that, but yeah, having somewhat of a weekend life, I'm not able to join them on the Saturday open wheeler cars, but that looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. You can do a lot of work on those cars. Well, the Okayama circuit. I don't know if anybody's ever mentioned it to you, but this was a circuit originally made for for rich folks to go out and play in their Ferraris and McLarens and stuff like that. So TI was Tanaka International, original kind of a club track, but they decided to give the corners names of famous racers, and maybe not so famous racers. David Hobbs is one of them, but we have Redmond Corner, First Corner, pretty original in there. Williams, Moss S's, the Atwood Curve, the Hairpin, Revolver, and then, like I say, Redmond, Hobbs, and Mike Knight Corner.
I did not know that, Curtis. Very interesting.
Thank you, Mr. Wikipedia. Just gonna kind of flip through the cars as we watch qualifying move along here. We got Marco Conti in the Maserati. Paul Hall, we know we always have the Paul Hall fans out here watching. He's going to be in his favorite vet. Gupster Douglas in the McLaren. And again, my Monday teammate, Mikey. He's in that noisy, super fast Ferrari F40. And it might help if I turn some engine sounds on there, make it a little bit more interesting, huh? Had all the mics turned off.
Yeah, speaking of it. Yeah, speaking of that F40, it's a tough car to get balanced, but if you do, it certainly can be a very good performance on Juan Monroy. Ran that F40 last season, first season got a full 10-race schedule under his belt, and drove it with some success, so certainly the speed's there in it.
I ran it a couple seasons ago in GT1. It was too much car for me. It was, like you say, it was short coupled, lots of horsepower, tough to get your hands around it. Salem Montgomery's also in an F40. John McIntyre, Aston Martin, Juan Monroy. A little bit of substituting for me on Monday nights. He's in another Aston Martin. And the boss, Mr. Al Merriman, in his Ferrari. I wish I knew. Is it a 575? Is that a 575 he's in?
It is indeed.
Mr. John Solvolg in another Aston Martin. Marty Urin in the Lister Storm. Andres Cole. And that wonderful Celine. Those cars are always quick pretty much everywhere you go. Well,
they are. They have such a great mix of downforce, power, and low speed grip. Very, overall, it's enough to perform at pretty much any track that you go to.
One of the championship contenders, and perennial race winner Chris Moses, and also in the 575, teaming up there with Al. Ian Jolicoeur, Aaron Parsons, also in a Ferrari. I think this one's a 550 though.
Indeed.
John Sportelli in the Fast 4 GT1s. Kevin Savoie, Celine. David Pohl, McLaren F1. Nick Johnson is substituting tonight in the Ford GT. Mr. Rich Roman, Thiago Canola, and Andres Prieto. And if you hadn't noticed, we got all the Ford GTs right now, taking what, 3 of the top 4 spaces at the moment.
Yeah, not too surprising. It's the Ford GT track for sure. Though I think Rich was putting some very solid times in that state winning. We talked about that one a little bit. There'll be a few other cars that could do well around here. Of course, the drivers in them are very good. Will always race well if nothing else. But as far as the speed, pure speed goes lap to lap, the GT40s are going to be pretty strong.
Yeah, it's good to be strong, good to be fast, and it's good to look good too. Those cars look good.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, Chris Moses, of course, does such a great job on the car packs in general. So it's tough to find some ugly ducklings out there.
I'm gonna check and see if anybody's watching us here on the. Looks like we have 7 viewers with us tonight. Say hello and thanks for joining us tonight. Want to put any chats up there as soon as I get my window figured out here. More than happy to chat along with you tonight during the race. So Nick Johnson's taking over the top spot. We got about 12 minutes left in qualifying. At 121.5, I don't think anybody's going to be able to get into the 120s not tonight. And as we said, Thiago takes it down to a 121.3. So maybe we might see that 120 yet, huh?
Well, I was just going to mention actually, looking at time of course, I'm not in the service, I can't see it when you pop it up there, but going to say it's interesting to see Thiago lagging behind the other Ford. A little cooler out there, Pirelli shot Ford. Could be a little off the pace relative to the Michelin. Thiago, of course, being very fast. I was surprised that his times were a little bit better relative to the Pirelli shot Fords. But there you go. I was going to mention that my first opportunity and made the point moot, so I decided to mention it anyway.
If anybody cares, that's me. I'll be sitting here all night. Rich Roman, let's see, where is Mr. Chris Moses? He's still sitting back in 10th. Now, I was with him on Tuesday while he was out doing some practice laps, and not to let any of his mojo go, but he was saying something about this being a bit of a busy track, and you know, it's not like him to really say anything bad about a track, and I don't think he was, but he says, you know, being on this track for an hour and a half might be kind of tiring. So we'll have to see how he does tonight, pacing himself and keeping out of trouble. Al Marilyn, his teammate.
I think Chris does. Oh, sorry.
No.
I think Chris does have a little bit of a success ballast on the car tonight, and anybody being a little bit off the pace is going to be a little bit more hesitant about really expecting to have a ton of fun. But you know, Chris Moses, multiple-time champion, he's a gamer. And come race time, when he puts the helmet on, believe me, he'll get going and probably moving through the field from wherever he starts.
It looks like he just went in for a quick change. He's not on a time lap. So teammates together out there. Chris in 10th, Al in 11th. So they've got about the same pace.
Curtis, the sky's looking a little darker to me. How's it looking there live in the film?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's looking a little darker, and if you haven't laid down your lap, you might be kind of stuck where you are. Let's see if I can't get any views of any moisture on the track. I haven't seen any yet. It's definitely getting darker out there. That might mean good things for the race come the race if you get the weather out of the way and have a dry race. You know, some of the guys would prefer that. There's always those crazies out there like a wet racetrack. Tiago Canola's still out there. Track's showing damp, but if that's the case, you can still run those soft slicks and be just fine.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I would expect to see a bit more of a challenge back from Nick Johnston, perhaps Andres Prieto. If the track is showing damp, I wouldn't expect the time to go too much lower. Again, hard to say since I'm not actually in the server and can kind of see the track, but when it actually says damp, there probably is a little bit of moisture out there.
Yeah, and it sounds like in the headphones here, it sounds like I might be hearing a little bit of raindrops on the hitting the windshields and stuff when we're on board with the cars. Maybe not a whole lot to worry them yet, but no one's been able to improve their times really here in the last 5 minutes or so. So that might be the reason.
Yeah, I really think that might be the case. And if the order doesn't change, it doesn't change. But in any event, this race is going to be a barn burner. I can't hardly sit still in my chair here. I'm so nervous to see what's going to happen out there on track. It's a shorter track, and there should be a lot of action here for position on a kind of a technical track. It's going to be tough for these guys to run real close to each other and try to make passes, particularly on the limit. So it's going to be an interesting time.
Yeah, it is going to be real hard. That was one of the things I tried to figure out on the track under my testing out here. It's like, okay, what are these people going to be able to pass? Where are they going to be able to make some moves? And you're going to have to have a little bit of cooperation. You're going to have to just really kind of force it down in there and make your moves stick. Otherwise, we could see some trouble. Down in turn 1, first corner. You get some people trying to outbrake people, you're going to end up going playing bowling and pinball through there. It could cause some trouble, and so I hope we don't see any of that. But the hairpin corner after that long straight, if you got a little power, you should be able to make a pass down in there. And after you get spread out, get everybody spread out a little bit, maybe down in the first corner too, be a good passing opportunity.
Yeah, you mentioned the start. Actually, second corner, deeper. Quite a bit of grip there toward the inside, not so much on the outside. So guys will have to be a little careful if they expect to run side by side through there in the opening laps. They'll want to be a little careful about going too wide. Pretty easily, loss of grip can send you off on the outside of that corner. So something these guys will have to be aware of.
And just a little note for you, Brad. I think we were messing around with our sound levels a little bit. If you wanted to turn yourself up just a little bit, I think you probably could.
Okay.
We've got 4 minutes, just over 4 minutes left in qualifying here. Tiago Canola still out top with that 121.3. That if it's damp out there, that time will probably stand. Nick Johnson sitting in second still. So since we have the Paul Hall fans out there, I'm sure, even I haven't figured that out yet on my other screen. Little off the pace. Well, okay, a lot off the pace, I'll be honest with you, but he's out there and I'm not, so. Sitting in 24th spot. Kind of a smaller field tonight, 24 starters. He's running a 128.
Yeah, it's a little strange to see, Curtis.
Yeah.
It kind of, yeah. I mean, Dubai last week, oh, I can look here right fast. We had some 30, I believe, anyway, so a little drop-off. Maybe some people like myself out of town, what have you, but in any event, the guys that are here are going to put on a pretty good show, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, like they always do.
So, yeah, indeed, it was 29 starters, nearly 30 last week in Dubai.
You know, Greg might get tired of hearing me say this, but there he is back there in 23rd spot. You know, he always seems to be a little bit off the pace in his qualifying, but he seems to work his way up during the races. He's not going to be happy starting 23rd. I would expect it's him just outside the top 10 normally in qualifying, but Gregory Myers right now is sitting way back in 23rd. So he's having some troubles, or maybe he didn't get any practice time in tonight.
I would suspect it's a case of Gregory not getting too much in practice laps in for this one, but it's just amazing how many positions you can pick up by keeping the darn thing on track. And Gregory does that.
That is something he does well, is keep it on the track. And Gupster Douglas sitting back in 22nd. Looks like he is not going to be bothering to go out and get any more times. Sorry if I grabbed the mic, but my mic is always live.
Well, this is a little
to
interesting. It doesn't look like any of these guys are going to be able to advance their position. Chris Moses is back there a little ways, and he's got some fast guys in front of him on a pretty tough track to pass anyway. And going to be interesting to see just how much Chris can advance his position over some of these championship rivals.
Well, he's done it before. He start back outside the top 10. Next thing you know, he's in the podium. Well, it was just Monday night. He had dropped all the way back into, what was it, 16th, 17th place after an incident, and he ended up on the podium in Monday night race. So, obviously he's got the pace, but you never count him out, even out of the top. Even when he starts in the top, outside the top 10. Parsons sitting in 8th in that Ferrari. Got a little bit of a draft off the Koenigsegg. I don't know if he's going to be able to use that to his advantage, though, if he slows him down in the corner. And looks like that. Racing there in qualifying, but I think Aaron's probably going to have to be happy with an 8th place starting spot.
Yeah, and again, my pictures are a little bit behind yours, but not sure what the Koenigsegg's thinking there, but it doesn't look like these guys are going to be able to advance their time. So.
28 seconds left, qualifying. Yeah, I forgot about that. You're on what, a 5-6 second delay?
It could be even longer than that. Yep. As far as the pictures I get, yep.
That's who we're missing tonight. Jean-Yves. Man, I'm going to destroy his name. Sorry about that, Jean, but Laurent, you're not out there tonight. I see you out there on live stream.
That's true. He isn't.
So without much fanfare, we finished qualifying 1 thanks to the rain. Thiago Canola laid down that early 121.3. And that seems to stick with Nick Johnson subbing for Super Brad. Picking up second, and Andres Prieto having a real good run there in third, 121.5.
So far, so good, Curtis.
So far, so good. That's what you want to see.
I feel like I know a little bit about what some of these team owners must be going through, which of course I don't. But
Yeah, at least the buy-in cost is a lot cheaper, right? But it's still like,
yes.
it's like having your kid out there, like, okay, take care of the car, take care of the car.
Well, I'm sure they'll do fine, win, lose, or draw. And again, it's going to be a heck of a race, regardless of anything else. I think particularly these top 10 drivers are really going to have a battle here, trying to jockey for position, and then after that, just trying to keep the darn thing on track for the course of an hour and a half. Of course, here on Thursday nights, a standard race length of an hour and a half. So. Yeah, these guys got some work, and hey, ultimately is a great pull by Thiago.
It's always good to get pole. Well, anyway, we have a few minutes while we wait for some people to come in and join the server that couldn't make qualifying one, or maybe had a no-qual penalty. Speaking of that, let's take a quick look. Who did have any penalties tonight? I think there was just a weight penalty. I don't think there were any no-qual penalties tonight, so it's just going to be a wait for some people. Bjorn Henneman, but he's not here, I don't think, so he'll carry that over to the next race. David Canavan again. He's not here tonight. He's out playing around in Spain. So he'll have to carry that 10G penalty the next race he comes back in. And John Walton, again, not here tonight. So all these people are, I guess, thinking maybe we'll forget about that penalty, wait to come next race. But you guys will be on top of that, won't you?
Yep.
Well, Al Merrimon, not a bad start. He'll be starting 11th. We see you there, Al.
Yeah, well, not too surprising. Those top 11, 12 times are actually quite close to each other. The nature of the relatively shorter track, and of course, it's not too surprising to see some of those tighter times, and that will carry over into the race. I think some of these guys maybe that didn't get the amount of laps in, or any guys that have trouble, we will see some gaps open up behind that relatively quickly. So,
yeah,
and yeah, and there could be a few lapped cars out there too, but it'll be enjoyable nonetheless.
Well, I think you always try to do that math in my head when I'm out there. It's like, okay, when do you expect the lap driver? So let's see, in a 90-minute race, you might come up here with a 4 or 5 second lap difference to what, a lap 20, 18, 22, somewhere in there. You might start picking up some natural lap traffic. Other, I'm not counting people that may have had incidents or accidents out there on the track.
Yeah, and speaking of which, some of that traffic could be problematic for some of these guys tonight, through some of these tight passing zones.
Yeah, these people are going to have to be patient, racing, patient, lapping. As we go to warm up, perfect race temperatures, track and ambient. I'm just going to follow around somebody. Let's pick somebody, Mr. David Pohl, since he's first out there. We'll do a lap of the Okayama circuit. At least probably up until pit entrance, right? looks like he's going through turn 4 though. They're Atwell corner. Go up a long, long straight, kind of a climbing hill. This is a nice, sharp, banked hairpin corner here. Kind of a wide entry. Get out of that corner a little. You want to get on the power early as you can there. Just noticing that, well, like any corner, I suppose. Through the infield tight section, you'll be coming up here to turn 5. This is Redmond corner. And then a sharp right-hander. Set up wide again. This is Hobbs. Turn 9. Then up to turn 10. You start carrying a little bit more speed as you get ready to go down the start-finish straight. Aptly named last corner. This first corner comes up on you pretty quick, so this is where I think unless you really got to pay attention when you're braking my control, because normally you take a little bit of a breath on a start-finish straight, but definitely not here.
Yeah, there's not too much time there, Curtis, but the entry to it is a little bit blind, however. The brake markers are pretty instructive, so assuming these guys have a good idea of being able to use the brake markers on the left-hand side of the track as you go negotiated.
This part of the track is the only part really you can take a quick look at your gauges and tires and temps and all that stuff, and then it's back to work.
Yeah, in the second sector, really makes a breakdown on this track. There are some very technical, slow corners, and a few of them have some really nasty bumps, particularly the first corner that starts the second sector. And it really takes some patience on the throttle and maybe some good setup work to get you through there as quickly as you can. There's a lot of patience required on some of these corners.
You happen to know where the sector brakes are? I don't have those marked on my track map here.
You know, I'm afraid that I do not know the names of the corners, so it'd be hard to say. But Sector 1 ends at the... well, I'd have to go through the whole track to explain it, so I'm not going to. But, to answer your question, yes, I do know where the sector brakes are.
I do know where they are, I just don't know where they are.
I would go ahead and tell you where they're at with David Poole's on board, but of course I don't have his real timing on that.
Yeah, it's not showing up here. Let's see if we can find it here. So, right along with Nick Johnson, yeah? So that's the hairpin. Yeah, that's what I think. Just going into turns, just around turn 7, looks like. Well, as I predicted, got that rain out of the way. Perfect track conditions. Let's hope this stays this way for the race. Unless, of course, you want a lot of action. You know, if you want to really kind of stir things up, you throw rain at the last 10 minutes into a race, right?
Well, you know, hopefully most of these guys are prepared for any type of conditions that come up and have at least gotten a few laps around in the rain to make sure that their setup isn't too bad for the conditions, and a little bit of practice, being able to stay on the groove and where the grip is in the way.
I was hoping Nick here would go into the pit entrance so we can see where that is and following through that. I know some races people have problems with pit entry and getting through there. I did see somebody in qualifying have bouncing off the wall, so let's see how tight this pit entrance is. Come on, Nick, go in there. May not have time. Here we go. 7 up the hill. So tonight's race, scheduled for 68 laps. Don't know if, look here at the previous time we've been here. Let's see here. The last time they raced here in GT1, it went 63 laps, but I don't remember if there was any weather or not. Andres Prieto won that race in his Maserati with Ezza. Aaron Parsons coming in second. And Rich Roman came in third last time here in the Chevrolet C5R. Their times about what we're seeing tonight, 123s, 124s.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, Curtis, as we move on here, I actually recall that that race was dry.
And this is something I did forget to mention. It's going to be a night race tonight. So, let's pick up our qualifying positions tonight. Starting a pole, Tiago Canola. Second, Nick Johnson. Third, Andres Prieto. Fourth, Rich Roman, Kevin Savoy starting fifth. David Pohl will start sixth. John Sportelli, and I can't do it the way Mikey does it, so I won't even bother. Starting in seventh. Eighth, Aaron Parsons. Ninth, Ian Jolicoeur. And starting 10th, Chris Moses. Starting 11th, the boss, Al Merriman. 12th, Andres Cole. 13th, Marty Urin. 14th, John Solberger. Starting 15th is Salem Montgomery Jr., who was having a real good run Monday until he had some technical problems. 16th, Juan Monroy, always one to watch out for. So he can work his way up through the pack. 17th, John McIntyre. 18th, Marco Conti. 19th, John Walton. John did make it tonight. 20th is Kreshnik Halili. 21st, Mike Graytrix. 22nd, Gubster Douglas. 23rd, Gregory Myers. 24th is Paul Hall. And in standing with tradition there, Brad, do you have any picks? I know who you're going to pick. I don't even know why I should ask you.
Well, actually, it is pretty tough to pick against Tiago Canola. I just don't think I can veer off the guy.
The guy is
Hate
fast.
to do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking Nick is going to go for his GT1 win tonight. Looks like we got a false starter there in the Koenigsegg. And we were off. Johnson hanging out there in second place. Tiago gets a real good start. Nice clean start. The pack following behind him. Kevin Savon fourth, right there in that Celine. Not letting Nick get away. Looks like everybody's playing it safe here in the first portion of this very beginning of this race. Parsons has moved up a spot, moved up to 7th. Chris Moses moved up a few already. He's up to 9th, with Al right behind him in 10th. Yeah, it looks like somebody dropped and has caused problems. Was it me?
Yeah, I don't know.
This is not good.
Let's see. Hold on a second, Curtis. I'm able to drop down here, see if anything's going on.
Well, we're going to stick with it here in case it decides to come back. I heard somebody drop, then all the cars disappeared. So I wonder if whoever dropped took me with them.
Curtis, you still around?
I am.
And so let's see, did you get booted out of the server as well?
I have just a stuck GTR2, it looks like. What's going on? Did you find out? Is the race still on?
Yeah, I think the race is still going on. I can tell you that I did move down into Andres' channel, and he's still out on track. So not sure how many people dropped. Of course, I think there were quite a few that did. So,
Well, if that's the case,
kind of in a holding pattern.
we are in a. Please hold 10,500 feet, November 7532 Bravo.
Yeah, we'll get some info for you just as soon as we can. Any people that are joining the broadcast now, be prepared to get back into the server just in case they reset. Over a certain amount of drivers that do get disconnected, they will restart or possibly reschedule the race. So hang out for a second. Don't take off just yet.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. It looks like Paul and Nick, your teammate, you're filling for tonight, Brad, is dropped, but he's on here on live stream, hanging out with us. So yeah, don't go anywhere. If they realize there is a big problem, they'll restart the race more than likely. As you can see, it took me with them though.
Well, yeah, if they restart, then of course we can restart the broadcast. So
Yeah,
as long
it's
as
not a
all of
problem.
our fine NAGP viewers out there know it.
So, it looked like a good start. Nice clean start. Had some, well, pretty good clean racing. Looked like it was off to a good start for a race.
Indeed. Let me, I'll jump back down here, Curtis, and see if I can garner any more information.
Okay. In the meantime, I'll sing you all a song. How does that sound? Turn your lights on, Nick. Next time, turn your lights on. Yeah, actually, I have to admit, I forgot it was a night race too, and I didn't realize that until we went into the race section. But in the meantime, I don't know if Brad will come back, but I'm gonna take a look at our championship standings as they stood when this race started, just to do some talking. And looks like Aaron Parsons was out front with 116 points, with David Pohl not too far back there in second.
Okay, Curtis.
Yeah.
It looks like there are still 20 cars out on track. Probably isn't quite enough for the cutoff to restart here.
Nope, that's not enough. Normally, if it took out about half the field, they would.
Right.
Well, you're higher up. There's not a whole lot I can do for you tonight, so I was taken out in the blast.
Yeah, well, that's too bad. And like I say, unless something happens and some more people kind of go down here, it looks like we may, unfortunately, be shut out of this broadcast here tonight, which is too bad because I think we were in for quite a hoot on this track. I was really looking forward to this one tonight. But,
Yeah,
well,
I was too, especially after seeing that it was a night race. I just added that one more element to it. See, we could have had a night race and rain in the last 10 minutes of the race. See, that would have just made it all that much more better, but it doesn't look like it's meant to be seen.
Well, it's not going to help my nervousness out any, knowing that I still have a teammate out there circulating around, so I'm going to have to be in a
You,
perpetual state of anxiety here for a day or so.
Nick was your teammate, wasn't he?
Nick did fill in. Andres is still out there running.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
so
right, yes. Well, we lost Nick because he's in here with us now. Looks like we lost Tiago
well,
Canola as well. So, hello, Tiago.
if we if we want to try to get a little bit more broadcast time in, we can bring up Nick and see if he has any thoughts on his participation, short though it was.
Sure, why not? Let's pull him on up here. There's nothing for us to see, so we might as well just talk to Nick, and maybe we can pull Tiago up too while we're at it. You have that technology. I can't do that, so.
Hey there, Nick. You around?
Yeah, I'm here, guys. How's it going?
Curtis,
Could
far
be
away,
better
buddy.
actually. Could be better. It looks like your broadcast crew was taken out in the disco blast. But from your standpoint, how was your night looking to go?
Oh, it was gonna be a good night. Brad really hooked me up with a good setup. I made some adjustments to suit my driving style. The Ford GT was gonna be great here. It's an excellent car in the corners, and with all the high speed, low speed sections, we were very fast in sector 2 and 3, and it was looking to be good. Andres was quick, I was quick, qualified 2-3. Um, I don't even gonna be much happier with that. And then, to be honest, I didn't even know it was a night race. Subbing thing, I really don't pay attention too much. I just kind of do my practice and get ready for the race. And yeah, I saw it was night. So the first lap, I was kind of missing some marks, and I let Andres by go into a corner so he can go after Tiago, and I was just going to fall in line and run my race. And all of a sudden, connection lost. And sad, looks like we only lost about 5-6 guys plus you guys. So it's not going to be enough to warn a restart, so got to clock it out as a mechanical failure.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for you tonight out there, Nick. You had the opportunity to drive a couple Fords. I know you're in the sister Ford as well. Have you spent any more time in these GT1s? Any other cars you're liking out there?
Really, the only other testing I've done is in cars that I'd be able to drive, because I was thinking earlier on the season to actually just run part-time and stop the car. But it seems like every time I try to practice that, someone hits me up for a substitution deal. I tried the Ferrari F40. That thing's pretty scary to drive. It'd be really quick in qualifying, but it's scary to drive. So for the most part, I've had Tiago's Ford GT and this Ford GT, and I like them both. They're both great cars. It seems like you really push them to the limits without very much difficulty.
So how did you find qualifying? Looked like the session started out dry, but worked its way into maybe a damp conditions. Too much of a problem. I didn't notice anybody picking up any pace. So did it get really wet?
Well, what happened was when we started off the session, you could see it was forecasting some damp conditions, some drizzle later on in the session. So we all knew we had to go out there and throw out laps quick before the rain came. So what I did is I threw on soft tires all the way around, which isn't exactly good for this car, but I figured get out something quick, just one lap, and see what I could do. And I ended up in the top 5 and up into the top 3. And I noticed that on the first lap I run and the front tires are not getting enough temperature by the time I'm on the lap, but the rear tires are burning up at the end of the lap. So I went in, switched into mediums on the rear, softs on the front, and by the time I got around to start my first hot lap, I noticed the drizzle on the windshield, and from there the track was done. I mean, instantly 2-3 seconds off the pace as soon as any drizzle was falling. So anyone after 18 minutes into the session was just getting some rain practice in, because there was no way anybody was going faster.
Well, I have to admit, I probably threw the broadcaster's curse on you because I picked you to win the race, so I apologize for that.
Hey, at least it took you down with me.
Oh, nice.
Well, tough break tonight there, Nick. I'm sure you'll get a chance to get at him again. another GT1 race. Best of luck in the GT2 series, by the way, and thanks again for at least trying to fill in for us this week. We really appreciate it.
Hey man, no problem. It was a lot of fun, and I definitely, after Monday night, got my work cut out for me to try to win that GT2 championship. It was a very tough race, and was able to get a few points out of it, but it is what it is. Got to go on. We got 2 good tracks for the Panos coming up. I got some weight off the car, so hopefully get a good finish at Imola. And then after that, Spa. And we all know how the straightaways are at Spa, and that's the strong point of my car this year. So I have to exploit that as much as I can and see if we can win ourselves a championship.
All right. Yeah. Thanks again for joining us tonight. Appreciate the time.
Have fun.
Thanks, man.
Well, Brad, I wonder if I should just leave this run through another hour or so, so people see what's going on, if they're expecting to show up or not. I don't know really what to do here.
Well,
Should do like a radio broadcast, just go off the live timing.
Well, I decided to take a look at that, and it shows. What does it show here? It shows Andres. There we go. Andres Prieto and Andres Cole and Kreshnik Halili third. Nothing against Andres or Kreshnik, but I don't think he's running third.
the live
Yeah,
timing can get a little wonky. It can be difficult.
It can be difficult.
Yeah, right now I'm showing Andres Prieto in the GT1 in the lead with David Pohl in his McLaren F1, running second, just over 3 seconds back. Third is Rich Horman, in the Sling S7R. He's 4.3 seconds back from Andres. Aaron Parsons in the Ferrari 550. Kevin Savoy in the Sling S7. John Sportelli in another Ford GT1. Chris Moses, Al Merriman, Marty Urin, and Salem Montgomery Jr. rounding out the top 10.
Pop in there. I don't think I'll be able to pick that up, so let's see.
Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to take a quick break here, and I'll pop back in here in a bit and see what's going on.
All right. Hey, thanks again for trying, Brad. Appreciate you showing up and volunteering to help me out tonight.
Oh, of course, and thank you so much for taking the time to do the broadcast, Curtis. It's a big benefit to NAGP, and I know that it can come at some personal cost, so we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. In the meantime, I'm going to see if I can get the live timing up here, at least up onto live stream.
Seems to be working if you can maybe get a little bit more zoom out of it, as the it's very small.
Da da dee dee da da. Dee dee dee.
Well, looks like possibly a problem this lap for Andres as his gap dropped from 5.3 seconds down to 3.5 to David Poole. Maybe some type of error in Sector 1. They're coming through Sector 2 now to see what the gaps are. Back up to 3.4, so probably some type of mistake in Sector 1 for Andres. Really lost a lot of time. See what his lap time is here in a couple of seconds.
It's nice to see Al and Chris together there in 7th and 8th. In those Ferrari fights. Looks like Al was a little upset about the rain. He felt he could have gone a little faster. But right now, running in 8th place. That's a good spot to be in this point of the race.
Yeah, Curtis, when that kind of qualifying happens, it's very difficult for drivers as you normally you have a 25-minute session. You know you have 25 minutes to hit your best lap, and set your starting spot for the race. However, in these conditions, you never know what's going to change or when it's going to change. So you almost have that added pressure to go out and hit your best lap immediately. And sometimes for some drivers, that could lead to them making mistakes as they know that like their mindset is the last 5 minutes of qualifying rather than the first 5 minutes, as you never know when the skies are going to open up. So, and then when you make those mistakes on those first few runs, before you know it, you're out of time and you sit where you sit.
Yeah, I've only had those situations a few times where you have to get out there and bust out a good lap. And to be honest with you, I think I only, maybe out of the 4 times it's happened, I think I maybe got one that I was really fairly happy with. Well, I'm going to shut down GTR2 in the background here. Bye-bye. We won't have to listen to that anymore, at least, right?
Very true. It looks like Andres has at least this first segment of the race pretty much under control. Has a decent sized gap, running about the same laps as David now, maybe preserving the front tires on his Ford GT. I know I was warned that the fronts may not last an entire stint, so it looks like he's got out to a little bit of gap and just managing the race from there.
Seems to me in the past, in my past experience with the GT1, that the Ford's always a little harder on the rear tires, so you're probably running a mix medium harder on that car then for this race.
Exactly. With the conditions I was running, a mix of medium hard. If the track temperature was a little bit lower, I would have gone soft medium. But it just in the warm up, the conditions for warm up was just on the edge of being too hot for the rears, and it was a good 6-7 degrees warmer for the race. So I had to resort to hard tires on the rear. But it's definitely a great handling car, and this track suits it. With the banking the way it is, you can almost throw the car into the corner and let the track catch you, and then power away. And that's where this car was really fantastic. Yeah, Andres leading out pretty good gap, running about the same times as Poole. Rich Horman about the same times. It seems like everyone in the top 5 running the same mid 123 lap times. One of the fastest cars on the track that lap was 5th place of Kevin Savoy. He's trying to run down Aaron Parsons in the 550. He's about 8 tenths behind him that time by.
Looks like he has run him down. You got
this.
what, second, third, fourth, and fifth, all pretty grouped up, real close to each other right there.
Yeah, they all seem to be within good 3-4 seconds. It's about 3 seconds between the second and 5th place, so that could get very dicey here in the next few laps as they're 14 laps in. I believe at the pace they're going now, it should be a 66 lap or 65 or 66 lap race, depending on pit stops and if any type of weather change happens.
Yeah, I didn't know if you caught that in the beginning of the race. One of the Koenigseggs had jumped to start, so I don't know if that was Ian or John. I think it was Ian who jumped that start. So I don't know if he's serving his stop and go now. Well, he hasn't run any laps, so it looks like he may have just had either an issue or parked it too. So it's too bad.
Yeah, Ian and I had a chat in the garage after we got back, and yeah, he said it was a weird starting procedure as the lights here, they are shining green as you enter the grid, and then when the time runs out and the start procedure begins, they go dark, and then the 4 red lights come on and then green, and just a reaction. I almost did it myself. You see those green lights go out, and you just something in your body reacts, and
It's a
he
natural
started
reaction.
forward.
It's like we've been taught to do that now for how many races, and you go to do it, and it's like, oh crap, screwed that up. I'm trying to get into the habit of going off the car in front of me now and just try to ignore the timers and laps. Because there's always a car in front of me. One of these days I'll have pole, though. Then I'll have to pay attention to that start procedure. looks like the leaders are coming up on
Wow,
lapping
lap
some
time's
cars,
dropped
huh?
off a lot.
Yeah, last lap's in a
Yeah, it looks like
24,
some of
so
the track has definitely dropped off a lot. I mean, 4 or 5 tenths from the lap before. Almost makes you wonder if there's any type of weather hitting the circuit right now.
yeah, it looks like the only person, well, there were two people in the 23s that last time around, Rich and Kevin. Everybody else has pretty much lost about 3/4 or a second a lap.
That's definitely gonna bring the gaps down between Poole and Horman and the entire top five. And seems like there's about a 10-second gap from Savoy down to Sportelli, who's being chased down by Moses and Merriman in the team Ferrari 575s.
So that front group now is getting around some lap traffic. Maybe that we'll see what happens. Maybe it was just some lap traffic that was slowing them down.
Yeah, that traffic's always very difficult to deal with.
Especially around this
'Cause, I
track.
mean,
It's kind of a hard track to make any passes on. Well, clean passes.
yeah, there's a couple of hard braking zones where you could get a nose inside, but it's a very big momentum track, so you want to carry as much momentum as you can. And when you're having to decide whether to pass a lap vehicle or not, it can ruin your rhythm. And when your rhythm's gone, it's very difficult to do anything. As wow, look at that, Prieto, a 124.4. Poole with a 123.8. He's gonna knock off 6 tenths of a second that lap. Starting to run him back down. Almost makes you think if the GT1 is running out of tires. He's only about not even. He's probably about halfway into his stint right now. So if he's having tire troubles this early on, it could be a very difficult second half of his first stint for Andres.
Yeah, it could be, but he's going to have to manage the tires because you can't do a two-stop in this race. You would lose too much track position, that's for sure. Well, that's pretty much a given in the GT1 series. You don't want to be trying the two-stop thing.
Yeah, it seems like the difference between tire wear and the how quick you go on lighter fuel just does not overcome the amount of time you spend on pit road. It'd be cool to see if possibly tires wore down a little bit more to make it possible for a two-stop. This would be different strategies and be interesting to know. But there it is, another 4 tenths off of Prieto for Poole. So that entire group of second through fifth is for the most part catching. Savoy, one of the quicker cars on the track, again that lap. He's running down Parsons and Horman. And Poole running down Prieto.
And I just noticed back there, Gregory Myers, who had started basically second to last, way back there in 24th or 25th spot, has already worked his way up to 12th after only 17 laps. So, doing what Greg always does. He starts, of course, he normally starts in about this position in 12th spot or so, and then works his way up into the top 10, but see if he can keep on his charge up into the top 10 like he normally does.
Yeah, it looks like a definitely good run so far for Greg. It's always a good day where you can start towards the back and work your way forward, knowing that you kept your car clean. And it's difficult with a long race like this. You think an hour and a half is a very long race, and you have time to think about your passes and make sure everything is nice and tidy. Cross your T's and dot your I's. However, if you're running the same lap times as some of those guys ahead of you, if you're stuck behind a guy a lap or two, you may lose the opportunity to gain more spots later on in the race.
Yeah, if you're just kind of stuck there and get frustrated and make your own mistakes and lose touch. That last lap looks like Aaron got around Rich for that third spot. So Aaron Parsons, he started, 7th or 8th in this race, and he's worked his way up in the top 3 now, so typical Aaron. Always making a race
Another 2 tenths. Another 2 tenths from Prieto to Poole. Parsons, like you said, by Horman. and also he ran a better lap than Savoy that last lap though, so looks like he may be safe there in fourth for now. It looks like that Poole's kind of pulled away a little bit from Parsons for that third, fourth, and fifth battle. Very, very tight as they,
Yeah, that 3-second gap there from Pole to
whoa.
Aaron, huh?
Did Savoy go off? I'm showing Savoy losing
Yeah, he's
fifth
back.
to John
He's
Sportelli.
back to sixth now. Yeah, and quite a ways back actually. What, 20, 30 seconds back now?
Yeah, he was
So
right on the bumper of Horman there, so we're going to have to keep an eye on his lap time this time by. And he
he's
is
gone. He's
off.
disappeared.
He's gone.
Yeah.
So obviously some type of failure for Kevin Savoy. I don't know whether it was another technical difficulty or possibly an incident on track. I'm not sure, but definitely bad luck for Kevin as he was looking for possibly a podium finish tonight.
He's had that happen to him on occasion too, and it looks like he may. Well, it's hard to say it because either one can cause the gap. But if you look where the third and fourth and fifth now are, there's a big gap between the third and fourth where there wasn't before. So either he went off and somebody got tangled up with him, or like you say, a technical and somebody trying to dodge him.
Yeah, it's actually a really good observation. There's now that lead group of third through fifth is completely split up. It looks like there's really probably not very many battles going on the track. The only ones I can see is Urine and Solberger for 8th and ninth. They're within 3/10 of each other, along with John McIntyre
Yeah, and tenth
right there
John.
with them.
Johnny Mac. Looks like Chris and Al may have just kind of hooked up. Al's still running in seventh. Got to talk about Al. Being the boss, we got to talk about Al. It's too bad we
I
don't
could
have.
see that.
It's always interesting watching the dots pass everybody. Kind of makes you wonder what's going on. Go 18th, go. Yeah,
I know, right? You
that's
can
my
see him
Monday
go,
night
it's like, "Ooh."
teammate there. That's Mikey Graytrix, and he's in that Ferrari F40. Look at him pass everybody. Look at them go. Yeah, that's one.
Man, going that quick, his engine wear is gonna be terrible.
There we go.
And he's still going.
Stuck there now. Okay, now he's up this right behind Marco Conti. Go get him. Go get him, Mike. Go pass that Maserati. Ferrari should be in a Maserati any day, right? Looks like he's picking up some time on him too. So
We have only about a second and 3/4 gap between, and he's definitely slowly inching up on Conti. But the important thing right here is the bubble for points, 16th, which belongs to actually now Kresnik Halili. Is that how you pronounce that?
I think so. That's what I've been going with. He's a newcomer to the
Kresnik
series.
Halili, who
I remember at the beginning of the series he had just signed on, so it's always good to get points when you're a newcomer.
actually just lost a place to Juan Monroy in Aston Martin DBR9. So now Kresnik's sitting on the bubble of points. Very valuable points here in the Thursday night series, as any race, any championship position can be decided by a single point. So anytime you can put yourself in position to gain points is a great night, and tonight's definitely going to be a very, very important night for some of these drivers. There's probably 4 or 5 drivers that could be well within the points have dropped out early on, and that leaves big openings for other drivers to take advantage.
Well, Andres, who was sitting third in the points at the moment, sitting out front there in the race. David Pohl right behind him. So we got the David Pohl who's sitting second in both the championship points and tonight's race. So he's maintaining pace. It looks like the big loser tonight's going to be Thiago Canola, who dropped out with the tech problems. Brad Maris, obviously, he was sitting in sixth. David Canavan, who's not even in the country, so Yeah, I think the big loser tonight's going to be Tiago, who, he was a ways back. He had 90. He was, what, 26 points behind. But that's, in tonight's race and then Spa. Um, Certainly not unachievable. Well, 23 laps. What are we thinking? 63, I think they went last time. Probably pitting around, what, 30, in the 30 range. Probably start seeing some of the guys pit around lap 30.
I'd say that'd be a pretty solid estimate on pit stops. I know myself, I'd planned on going to about lap 34 and then going another 30 or so laps from there, 31 laps from there. So
Yeah,
I
finish the
believe
race.
Andres is all around the same strategy.
Yeah, you want to finish the race on a little lighter fuel load, better tires. Those 3 laps can make a difference if you're fighting for position at the end of a race.
I actually know for a fact it helped me secure my first win in the GT2 series, as Poole pitted a bit earlier along with Marty Urine, and I came in probably about 2 laps after Poole and a lap after Urine, and the tires at the end of the race really helped out, as those other two were sliding all over the place, and I was able to attack and keep the tires underneath my car. So that tire strategy really plays a part here, is you have to decide if you want to come out and undercut someone in the pit stops and hold them off later, or try and hold them off now and lose some time under the pit stop, knowing that you will have better rubber underneath you at the end of the race.
You've run how many races have you run in the GT series? It seems I think you've run what 4 races in the GT1 now, and not had a whole lot of luck because you've only got 10 points on the board, but you've always been fast. It seems like you've had a couple of discos, and I think that's what. Yeah, you had 1 or 2 discos, haven't you? And then some sort of crash or something, didn't you? Or what happened in the GT1 with you this year?
To be honest, I can't remember too much. Let's go take a look at the maybe some results. I know my last race that I had was excellent. Then on Thursdays I have work until 6, so I normally cannot make qualifying. So I started in the back, and I believe Valencia was the track, and was
Yeah,
able to drive my way up to 7th. That was a very good finish for me.
yeah, you got the 10 points in
I
Valencia,
believe I
but
ran Silverstone.
you don't have any points anywhere else. So but I remember you having some problems or in a few of the races. So you'd actually be up there. But everybody knows when you show up that you're going to be fighting for fighting up front.
Yeah, I think Silverstone, I may have had some kind of disco. Oh, I had a disco in warm-up just before the race,
That's right. That's right.
and
Yes.
that dropped me. And wow, check this out. Andres Prieto has lost the lead to David Poole, running a 1:28.6 that past lap. Looks like an error on track, which lost Prieto the lead. And now, as he looks in his rearview mirror, all he sees is the red Ferrari 550 of Aaron Parsons. And I know as a driver, that's really not someone I like to see all up in my mirror this early on in the race.
Oh
He's
yeah,
a
Aaron.
very clean, aggressive driver and very good on the brakes.
He'll just fill your mirrors up, but he's the cleanest guy out there. He knows when he can make his move. That's for sure.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate for Andres, who almost had looked to have this race somewhat under control, but now he's put himself in a bad position just about 5, 10 laps before pit stops. Now he's going to have to push, try to find his way back by Pool. If not, possibly consider an earlier pit stop and undercut him in the pits.
Yeah, if you can just, they seem to be pretty even on their times, with maybe Andres being a little quicker, but that might be at the cost of, at the tires. So maybe Andres, if he just sat there and paced himself with David, and it might work out to his benefit actually. Greg Ryers moves up another spot into 11th. He's running a couple seconds a lap faster than the guy in front of him, Marty Urine. So looks like Greg is going to be all over the back of Marty here real quick. Mike Graychick.
Looks like we've actually lost another driver too. We're down to 18 running cars, as sadly Crunchick Halili has had an off that time by running a 1 minute 31 lap time. He'll drop down to 18th out of the points. That gives Marco Conti a chance to possibly gain himself some points here, running some very competitive lap times, which would actually running a bit faster than some of the guys ahead. So possibly he can make a good night out of tonight for him.
And gets my Monday teammate one step closer to some points. Go, Mikey. Gupster Douglas up to 13th. He started way in the back too. I think he was like 22nd start of this race. So he's having a good run. If anybody has any problems in front of him, he'll be able to get in the top 10, which would be nice. He's not got the pace right now, but those 126s. But he'll keep trying. It's a long race. It's one thing Gup does. He doesn't quit. So we got the Johns in 8th and 9th. McIntyre and Solberger in the Aston Martins. Not teams, but the DBR 9s. Looks like Andres is a little quicker because he's slashed that gap down to just half a second. So it must have been a mistake. Andres, he probably went wide and got caught by that grass. You know how that grass on these on this course would grab you and throw you right into the sand.
Yeah, you can really get. Whoa, look at all the dots go now. You can get pretty greedy on this track, as you feel the banking catching you, but as the tires wear down, it's not going to catch you as much, and it's very easy to overshoot some of these corners. Just like that's exactly what he did, but now running some blistering lap times, 1:23.7. There's nobody else in the field in the 1:23s, and the closest to that is a mid 1:24 by David Poole. So Andres definitely turning up the jets as he realizes his mistake. He needs to get back up front. He feels it's time to go just before the round of pit stops begin.
He gets that Brazilian blood boiling, and off he goes. I don't know, but with the pit stops coming up, you know, you always want to have that good in lap and the good out lap. But if you get right up on somebody, you're not going to get that good in lap. So you either got to make the pass or kind of pace yourself. Yeah, 124 that last lap. Right there with David and Aaron. Right there with him as well. The 124.5. So I think the Ferraris take a little bit longer in their pits. The fuel, I think, is a little bit slower with the Ferrari. So Aaron might actually lose a little bit of time. Everybody's going to be taking tires. Looks like Marty Earn and John McIntyre, Gregory Myers all the way up to 10th now. Those three are right next to each other. The lap times have definitely dropped off. Leader's got a clear track in front of him. Andres has gotten back around David. Andres has taken the lead.
Yeah, true. Andres back up in the lead in front of Poole. Another guy, John McIntyre, he's up in the 8th in his Aston Martin. As Gregory Myers is in the 9th.
Looks like Solberger
Definitely
may have
good
had a
showing for Greg.
problem because it was Johnny Mack and John Solberger. So John must have either. Well, he hasn't gone in the pits yet, so yeah, he probably had a little off, and that cost him a lot of spots. Like David has not given up. You see the dot is 1 and 3. Well, there's a 2 mixed in that too. I wish we had this going on live. It's too bad we taken out the tech problem because this looks like it's a real good race. We're 46 minutes into the race, so yeah, lap 31 for the pit stops maybe. 32, I'm thinking. I didn't see how many pit bays there were, so I don't know if there's going to be any problems with that.
Okayama has 16 pit boxes. That's just about enough for everybody on the track right now to pit all at once. So
Yeah.
I don't see there being any issues, but you never know.
It looks like we have had some people pit, even though they don't show up on the timing and scoring there. Chris Moses is pitted. He's dropped back to 12th. Gregory Myers all the way up to 4th, so let's see who else is pitted. Andres. Aaron Parsons is pitted. He's back to 8th. Al Merrimon's pitted. He's back to 10th. So we'll cycle through here in the next lap or so. Looks like David Pohl and Andres Prieto are in the pits. Let's see who comes out first. Looks like John Mack will probably be going in the pits here in this lap. So Solberger takes the lead. Well, we know Aaron's already pitted, so let's see how this is going to work out. He's just 2 seconds behind Prieto, and David Pohl has dropped back to a provisional third right now, so David the big loser on the pit stops right now. Yeah, if that's the case, and Andres is out front still, we know he was fastest on the early part of the race on those fresh tires, so maybe he'll gap it, back it off a little bit, save something for the end. Solberger's keeping it out there. Expect to see him pit soon, though. J-Lo, my little chihuahua, has shown up here. Say hi. What up, J-Lo? Solberger's still out. I expect him to be pitting soon, though. Still. And yeah, John's in. So that leaves Andres out front, Aaron Parsons, David Pohl, and might think Chris Moses and Alan Rarimon will pass him in the pits there. Gregory Miles will probably pass him, get Greg up to 9th. Let's see how that works out. So yeah, Greg moves up to 8th. He got around Solberger. Chris Moses, kind of a ho-hum night for him, it looks like. He's worked his way up to 5th, starting from I think it was 11th. His teammate Al, a couple spots behind him. He's got a little bit of work to do good around Sportelli. Keep an eye on the gaps here. Looks like David Pohl is not. That last lap was about, well, what, half a second off the pace of Andres, but we know Andres had quick pace at the beginning of his stint. Aaron Parsons is working his way up, just kind of picking and choosing his like he does, and he's worked his way up to second, only 2 seconds off Andres. Stinky dog. Oh, 36 minutes left of this excitement.
Yeah, my live timer won't upgrade. It tells me there's 3 cars on track. Oh, here we go. Whoa, check that out. Aaron Parsons has leapfrogged Pool into P2.
Could be a leap.
Nice for him.
Could be a leap flogging. He does that. He flogs people. Just beats them into submission. Look at Mikey Graytrick, so up to 12th in that Ferrari, and he's right there on top of Gupster Douglas in the McLaren. And they're running exact. Go, Mike, go! And they're running same like. Oh, that back down to 14th. Okay. Oh, I hate this live timing sometimes. It's like, what is it really? But still, 14th place for Mike. That's a real good showing so far. Andres is gapping Aaron a little bit now. 2.5 seconds. But David Pohl not that far behind Aaron. Only under a second. So David's got some fight left in him for the second half of this race. Aaron just runs his fastest lap of the race at 23.2. Johnny Mac, his fastest lap of the race at 24.1. So it looks like these guys are putting in their fast laps right now. Fastest lap of the race with Andres Prieto, 23.065. That's faster than his qualifying time. No, it's not. I lied.
You guys would say, weren't we in the 21s in
You guys,
qualifying?
yeah, you guys were in the 21s. You were shooting for the 20s in qualifying. minutes left in the race. Be right back, Nick. I'm gonna go grab me another glass of water here. Is it stuck again, it looks like? Pole runs his fastest lap. 23.1. Come on, Mikey, hang on to that last points playing spot there. Yeah, it looks like Sportelli and Chris are battling it out. Jean Laurent is pointed out. Oh wait, Jean Yves. What is your last name, Jean? How do you say that? I think I'm getting your last name confused with Laurent Weisman. That's what I'm doing. So I'm sorry. I apologize, Jean. Samson. That's right. Everybody else fairly gapped out. But Juan Monroy, Andres Cole, Salem Montgomery all running fairly Comparable lap times, all within a second and a half of each other. The boss, Al Merriman, 6 seconds behind his teammate. Looks like Chris is not going to be able to make much time. He's 10 seconds behind Rich Roman. Chris is going to have to do whatever he can to stay in front of Sportelli for those points, because Chris is in the championship battle here with Aaron and David. And with those two, David Pohl, with those two running out front there, well, at least in front of him, he's not going to want to lose any more ground than possibly can. Chris will get past Tiago, since Tiago was part of the disco. Aaron just runs his fastest lap now. Andres Prieto runs into the 22, so these conditions must be good out there. Al catching up to Sportelli's 2 seconds behind him. Looks like Sportelli may have had a problem with the 1:28 lap time. He must have gone off there. That's giving Al Merriman hope for that 6th spot. Gregory Myers is 1:24.1, and looks like Sportelli did go off because he's dropped back, and now it's Al right up to 6th with Gregory Myers 7th, so Sportelli loses 2 spots. So that means Al's going to be 10 seconds behind his teammate with about 23 minutes left in the race. We lost somebody. Who did we lose? Because everybody's moved up the spot. Looks like we lost Sportelli. Seems like we had a race like this in Laguna Seca season or 2 ago. I was able to actually get some points in a GT1 race. I moved up to what I think was 8th or 7th or 6th or something. Something quite good actually for me in a GT1 race, where there were a lot of technical difficulties, we shall say, for people. But points are points. That's what it's all about, doing the best you can on the night, any night given. Moves my Monday teammate up to 15th. A full lap ahead. Actually, three laps ahead of the guy behind him, Kreshnik Halili. So he keeps it on the track, keeps it going, and be able to score some 15 points. 15 points tonight. That gap up front between Andres and Aaron staying pretty steady. David Pohl and Aaron Parsons staying pretty steady. So it looks like things have settled down now. Everybody's got a, third to second, first, second, and third. Pretty, it's a good gap if you're in front of the guy behind you like that, but not so much if you're watching a race and you get those 3, 4, 5 second gaps between everybody. And times are coming down now a little bit. Slowly working their way back up into the 24-second range. So Gregory Myers all the way back of the pack up into 6th spot. He's not done yet. He's still running faster lap times than Chris Moses. So with what, 11 seconds behind and 20 minutes left in the race, he can still chase him down. Looks like Andres is starting to gap second place Aaron Parsons now. He's got basically a 5-second lead. But David Pohl is right there on top of it. Has a fighting for that second spot. Pretty big gaps there between David Pohl and Rich Roman and Chris Moses. And Chris Moses is only, 5 seconds ahead of his teammate. But if Al was able to catch up to Chris, I don't think he'd pass him because he knows Chris is doing all he can to get as many points as he can. Looks like Kreshnik Kalili is stopped running laps, so he's I don't know if he'll get points. He's got to finish 80% of the race, 85% of the race. I forget the number. Do the quick math there, see if he'll get that 16th place point or not. Fight right now is for second place between David Pohl and Aaron Parsons. Just over half a second separating them. Clear track ahead for the most part. So they'll be able to fight it to get around that. Just now lapping Mikey Great Tricks. That's one thing about being lapped. It's less fuel you need. Like we've lost somebody else. Juan Monroy, Salem, Marco, Mike, Kresnik all moved up a spot. Night of attrition. Finish a race, you can finish in the points. John Wathen has left the building. Nope, there he is. 16th. Who was it? seconds. Little bit of gap now from David, who was just half a second behind him. Now full 1.2.
Yeah, Curtis, this is Brad. You soldiering on here?
Soldiering on. We're just yakking about timing and scoring here. Nick is in and out. How's it going, Brad?
Well, it's going okay. Speaking of timing and scoring, let's see what's going on here.
We've lost a few people. We're down to 17. Kreshnik Halili's dropped out with engine problems. 39 laps. So he won't be moving up. That's left 14 runners. 14 or 15 runners. We're going to have another update here in just a second. Looks like the big race right now is between David Paul and Aaron Parsons. Andres has moved out 4-second gap in front of him. The gap between David Paul and Aaron Parsons keeps fluctuating between 1 and 2. Looks like it's up to now 2 full seconds. So maybe David's race has run its course, maybe.
And it looked like maybe Andres reclaimed the lead after stops then.
Right before the stops, Andres got in front of David Pohl. And they stopped 2 laps later, and Aaron was able to move up a spot and get around David Pohl at that point during the stops. And that's been the running order since, Andres, Aaron, and David.
Well, I'm taking a look at the session progress here. It looks like 1 hour and 16 minutes in, so they should be on their winding down their laps here, eh?
Getting close, 51? So it looks like it's probably going to go, 63 laps again? It looks like Gregory Myers has chased down Al Marimon, though. Greg started way back there in 22nd, I think 22nd and 24th, somewhere around there. He's working his way up into the top 6 if he can get around Al, but that won't be easy. Al's got to fight for that spot.
Yeah, looks like maybe Rich Roman has had a spot of bother in terms of the gap that's opened up. Chris and Al have really benefited some from this the problems they're having out there on the server tonight, and of course Gregory Myers, as you say, as well. So quite a few of these guys that were able to stay connected got quite a bit of help. So that's a nice benefit for those guys.
Yeah, Chris and Al have been pretty much running there, 5th and 6th, 7th. But Greg has actually been on the move. He's been passing people when he was, I think after all the problems, he was running around 13th, 14th place. But after that, he's picked up the pace, and you can see he's running faster lap times now than Al and Chris both. One thing that's interesting is the gap between David Pohl and Aaron Parsons is fluctuating. It was at 2 seconds, and it was a second, and it's a second and a half. Now we're just over a second again, so maybe Aaron is struggling a little bit with that Ferrari towards the end of his stint here.
Yeah, so taking a look at the timing and scoring here, with Aaron coming in on lap 31, it looked like he was in the mid-24s toward the end of that stint. So things being possibly now as they were. Yeah, David was pretty close there as well, mid-24s at the end of that stint.
It's interesting to see Andres pull another 123 lap timeout. Guess you don't want to lose your rhythm, but you don't want to push too hard. Sacrifice that win. That if he keeps on going like it is, he'll get.
Yeah, bummer out there. Had some of these problems. And us too. Always nice to capture the live pictures, of course. So I don't know if anybody's hanging around and actually following some of this stuff, but sure appreciate anybody that does. That's for sure. That's dedication.
That's dedication, yeah. Genevieve and Kreshnik, they've been hanging out. Looks like we got 9 viewers out there right now, but me and you being 2 of them. 7, Sean 6, Kreshnik 5, so hey, make a chat out there, folks. Make yourself known. So yeah, what, 10 more minutes of racing? 11 or 9, excuse me, 9 more minutes.
Yep, just laps left.
Looks like Gregory got around Al for that 6th spot. And being, what, 5 seconds behind Chris, running a second a lap faster, he may be able to chase him down. You know, Greg would love to get a top 5.
Oh, you bet.
And there's that gap again between David and Aaron, back down to 1.5 seconds. So it's fluctuating up and down. And they pulled in, what, then knocked a second off the lead off of Andre, so it's down to 3 seconds. That's what happens if you try pushing too hard, you make those mistakes.
Yeah, all Aaron's going to be a tough guy to get around in closing laps.
Looks like there's a close battle there for 10th. I'm getting that top 10 between Andre Scholes and Gupster. If timing and scoring isn't lying.
Yeah, it can be a little wonky, huh?
If this is the case, there's actually a good battle from 12th, 11th, 10th. Those guys all real close. But yeah, now you see him. We'll see him went from 7 seconds to 4 seconds at that lead gap, but still right around 1.5 for David, Paul, and Aaron. Don't know if Greg is going to have enough time. He's got 7 seconds behind Chris. And Chris will not make it easy to get around, so
No.
I think Gregory's race has run its course now. And stay there in 6th and be happy with that.
Yeah, boy, high 24s for Greg. Mid 25s to high 25s for Moses.
So we're looking at 3. It's just keep the math simple. Half a second a lap. Not enough time.
Yeah, a little over.
Well, yeah, it might be. There might be time. It might take, what, 4 laps to get there? Chris had a really bad lap that last lap. A full second slower, so Yeah.
Yep.
But look at David Polliner and Parsons also right there. Now it's under half a second. David gets around Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question David Poole has pace on Aaron. Looking at timing and scoring here. Yeah, there it goes.
So yeah, you know but look what they're fighting is battling for that second position is giving Andres the breathing room he needs. He's gonna relax now and finish out the race.
Yes, I would think so. Yeah, 3 or 4 laps left. 4-second gap is manageable.
Let's see what happens here. See if he comes back up on timing and scoring since he's dropped off. There he is. Yeah, they got 10 seconds on him now. So Greg is only 2 seconds behind Chris now. Oh, I'd like to see this fight. Al's got a little bit of work to stay ahead of John McIntyre for that 7th spot.
Yeah, I was taking a look earlier there at Johnny Mac and some of the lap times. And yeah, you know, he was looking pretty darn good. And you know, old McIntyre, he needed a little boost. He's been having some struggles this season, so it's good to see him there. Yeah, it looked like that gap got pretty close between Al Miramon and John McIntyre because of a mistake, an Al Miramon mistake.
Yeah, looking at those times, Chris is in trouble. Looks like we're gonna go 63 laps. Andre's comfortably in front by 12, 13 seconds, so. The battle now for 5th place. Sit and watch the numbers. Towards the end of the race, Salem Montgomery throws down his fastest lap of the race at 23.77. Not a bad lap time.
Nice.
Aaron's not letting David get away. Just over a second behind him. One small slip up, one touch of that grabby grass, and Aaron's going to get by him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no doubt David is just trying to manage a small gap here. Actually, I'm sure he's trying to make sure he just does keep it on track and just in front of Aaron.
Looks like we're probably only going to go, what, 62 laps this time? Maybe. Let's see. We're running out of 10 seconds left, and he's just now getting into the second section. Maybe this will be it.
Yeah, assuming our timing's working pretty well, I suppose the time Andres comes by, that should be it.
See if he makes it to the end of the line and he stops. That should be it, right?
Keep an eye on Ventrilo here, and if
Yeah, if you could.
you see a lot of stuff lighting up, we'll know. Though, of course, unfortunately, aren't too many people around.
Yeah, we're down to what, 16? 16, 17. Gregory
it's
Myers
really too
got
bad.
past Moses for that 5th spot. That's not going to make Chris very happy at all. Chris wants those points. People he's chasing down are in front of him.
Those guys, I think, were a lap down, so they may have crossed after Andres, and just in the shuffle of running their last lap here, something could have happened. So I'm not 100%, but it's so hard to tell without being able to see what's going on there.
Now I'm thoroughly confused.
Yep.
But, you know, the way the night's gone, I'm not too surprised.
Yeah. Hold on just a second here.
Yeah.
I actually jumped down here on a Ventrilo channel and asked John Wappen if he was what was going on out there, because I saw that he was still in the server, but apparently he had tabbed out. So he's not actually in the server.
What about Kreshnik? Looks like they're done now. No, I don't know. The dots are doing strange things. I think they're finally finished. Yes, they're done. But it does look like Greg... Oh, who knows? We'll find out when we get there. You're going to have to grab them, throw
Yep.
them up here. Not that anybody's around to listen, but hey.
Okay, and so who are we grabbing?
We'll grab our winner. Let's see if we can grab Andres. He has good English.
All right, hold on just half a second.
Cool.
Okay, Curtis, go.
Andres, Prieto, looks like you had a pretty good night tonight.
Yeah, yeah, I did.
Pretty good battles there. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you, Curtis. Had a little bit of a rough time with SM foil at the beginning. Temperature was too hot, and it was kind of hard on me because I had the radiator on 4. So I had to short shift a bit.
Yeah, we unfortunately lost our broadcast feed. Our pictures went down in the first lap of the race, but we saw on the live timing and scoring that you got out to a pretty decent lead, but you had David Poole and Aaron start to reel you back in a little bit. Was the pressure getting to you a little bit out there?
Well, I exited pits and Esa was right behind me. So I started temperature got a little bit lower, so I could push a little bit more and managed a couple of 22s and managed to, you know, get some gap between Esa and me.
Yeah, it looked like the second half of the race you were able to pretty much gap them out for about, what, 4 or 5 seconds and let those two battle it out. So, thanks a lot for joining us tonight and congratulations on the win. Good job.
Thank you guys for the broadcast.
Yep, we'll see you in just a few minutes, Andres.
Okay.
Well, Brad, what can we say? We stuck it out and just watched dots, watched timing and scoring, but it's the best we could have done tonight. I'd like to apologize for everybody who wanted to come in and watch some racing, but it happens sometimes. Thanks a lot anyways for joining us, and be sure to join us on Monday nights where Brad and Al will commentate, and I'll be out there in my car, and Thursday nights and the Saturday leagues also. Don't forget to check us out online at NAGP, NorthAmericanGP.com, and go ahead and join us and have some racing. Thanks a lot, Brad. Thanks for putting up with me tonight, and appreciate you coming in and helping out.
Yep. Well, thank you, Curtis. And next week we'll make sure that broadcast is up and running, and you'll be able to get some good pictures for everybody.
Hopefully. Hate the big discount, but the big disco, but it happens. Thanks a lot, everybody, and live from Okayama, Japan. See you next week.